and he is a current participant in what is known as the Global Food Initiative, which I'll let him talk about. And he is also the current president of the UC Davis Regents Scholar Society. So this kid knows what he's talking about. All right, Alex.
Actually, did anybody hear me without the mic?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, I usually stop using one. So, obviously, I am not a food science major. I'm not even a bio major. I've never taken a bio or OChem class pretty much in my life. But there are many ways to contribute to improving the future of food. So we're going to take the level of technicality dialogue down several notches in complexity here and talk about logistics. So when we think about the future, right, we have all these issues facing the world. We have the climate issues, we have economic inequalities, we have, maybe perhaps due to those two issues, we also have armed conflicts, we have mass migrations of people trying to get out of some areas into other areas. And the result is, in addition to our exploding population, we will have 8 billion people by 2025. We will also have people distributed entirely in areas people and wealth distributed in areas that they don't really have. So it's a tremendous issue just on that level alone. Like, how do we feed these people? How do we feed people in the new overpopulated environment that we will have in the immediate future? And so the Global Food Initiative is a UC-wide effort to answer that question. We don't know the answer yet, but we can commit a lot of resources that are already being used for various food and agricultural-related research to combine into one centralized effort. It's especially prevalent at UC Davis because we are primarily an agricultural school, but all UC campuses have some ongoing personnel working on this project at the same time. However, even though it is the Global Food Initiative, and we are fighting hunger abroad, we also cannot in good conscience do that without also addressing hunger on our own campus. And even maybe first, hunger for college students is actually a huge issue. I unfortunately don't have the statistics on it, but it's much more significant than many people would think. And now, that doesn't necessarily mean people are starving in the dorms. Hunger is defined as roughly the lack of available, affordable, nutritious food on the basis that you need it. That's actually a problem. Having access to that food is a problem on campus, and the Global Food Initiative, among other things, is going to look into why that's the case. So I'm not an academic researcher. I'm not a student researcher in the traditional sense. I'm an employee at the Center for Student Affairs Assessment at UC Davis. And basically, we are a very recently formed evaluation and kind of auditing wing of the Division of Student Affairs. And we're designed to look at different units like advising, like recreation, and find out their efficiency on campus and how they contribute to graduation rates. For the UC Davis students, if you've noticed in the past year and a half, 2 years, you've had to start swiping your card whenever you go into like the career sector or the Center for Student Involvement. This is the kind of banner we made for that. That's our office's program. And the idea is that we now track every student's participation in such programs in a central database. And so we now have the tool, the ontologies actually, to link your participation in one area to your participation in another, and ultimately to your graduation, your chance of graduation and your success rate. We can track that information for all 30,000+ students at UC Davis. It's a tremendous tool, and using that kind of tools and the fact that we have that kind of knowledge means that campus places us in high demand to help out with other initiatives and to just be higher brain power, if you will. And our current effort is, we are on the Global Food Initiative. So there's 2 postdocs and 5 undergrads, including myself, working on this. That is not to say that this is the entirety of the Global Food Initiative at UC Davis. This is just a specific link that they thought us non-food people at Student Affairs could help out with. So where do we start? The issue is that we can't start addressing hunger at UC Davis before we know the extent of it. And so we need to identify inefficiencies in the current system of distributing food and education about food to students, which also means we need to first identify the current system. So now we've worked backwards about 3 or 4 steps here to solve the global food crisis. And the very first thing we need to do, and the thing we're working on right now, is documenting all sources of food on campus. By sources of food, I also mean indirect sources, that is grants for food, CalFresh, programs that include people with gift cards, food education, could be health and wellness education or specific, how cooking classes, facilities, even if if there's some place that provides a centralized microwave for people who bring uncooked food to campus and they cook it on campus, and then even other health items that we don't even know how to address yet. And so the action item for us, and that's what we've been doing, that's what I've been doing, is going out and talking to every single source of this kind of thing on campus. There are several hundred of them, and we've been going out and interviewing people and filling out questionnaires for every single one. It's a very big operation, and we've had to break it down several times. And we've identified basically 5 ways students get food or get help with food. That's directly. You can pay for it, obviously. There's also a free source like the ASUCD pantry provides a free certain amount per day of cans, packaged foods, whatnot, for any student, so long as you have a student ID card. You get indirect food, for example, something that a lot of people don't know is the athletics department at basketball games gives out In-N-Out gift cards. So if you're really hungry, you can go to a basketball game and go, me, and I'll throw you an In-N-Out gift card. It's not a very efficient way, but we do document that. It's part of our systematic search here. You can have facilities. Most common ones are microwaves, but there's some kitchens on campus and some fridges. This is a really tough one because sometimes it's like if it's in the chemistry building, you probably need to be a chemical engineering major or a chemistry major to be able to get to the office where that is and use it. There's also an education program, most of them for free on campus. And then there's some other health concerns that we need to know how to address. And the issue is that some of them, can you slide for a second? Next one. Previous one. Thank you. Some of them, like the silo union, provide more than one. So like the silo, for example, we all know you buy food there. But also they have a microwave there. So the silo can be functional to you as a food source without ever paying any money there. And they even have education programs, which a lot of students don't know about, where they set up tables that will actually coach you. And you can ask them, I don't know what I need for my diet, and they will point you to stuff in the store, the little section for what sandwiches or fruits and stuff they have available. That would be a healthy eating choice for you. And they even have a labeling program to show you kind of roughly how healthy each food is, though as we heard earlier, that's not labeling food is maybe not the best way to do that. And so we have quite a few questions that once we identify these food sources that exist, what do we need to ask them? So we need to do basic things like how many students they serve. It's actually kind of difficult for some of them to find out. Are there any eligibility requirements? Some of them have very strict eligibility requirements. Some of them are open to anybody with a Davis ID card. Do they need dietary restrictions? Halal, kosher, vegetarian, vegan, lacto-vegetarian, etc. Do the education facilities have training? Are they having other undergrads teach them? Are they actually professors? Are they actually paid staff members? And then also, is there anything else that we're missing? Is there any food programs that are similar to the ones we just interviewed that we don't know about? So we are actually crowdsourced our search. That for the initial, like 30 surveys we gave out to people we knew that were food programs on campus, the final question in our survey was, do you know of any programs like yours? And so we rapidly expanded our search and branched out. We now have a giant spreadsheet that I learned today may not be the only one of such out there that we're keeping track of. Problem is, it's not an easy thing to do. Some contacts are hard to reach. Some people you can go into an office and just talk to them. Some student clubs, like Student Nutrition Association and Spoon University and stuff, don't have a regular contact point, and so it's really hard to get a hold of them. We've also got the fact that in the past week, UC Davis announced that it will no longer be using the company Sodexo that provides our dining commons food. And in that week, I had between interviewing the head of all retail operations on campus for Sodexo, so all the food trucks, all the little stores and stuff like that, and needed to follow up email for him, he just stopped talking to me. Once they announced that we're not going to pay them anymore, they're not going to talk to us anymore. So that was an interesting issue. There's also a lot of people don't know who's in charge of what. It took forever to find out who's in charge of all the microwaves on campus, the people in charge of repairing them are not actually who owns them or who keeps track of them, stuff like that. And also a lot of things are really informal. For example, I mentioned the microwave in the chemistry building. Well, that thing's not technically supposed to be used by students. But if you are a chemistry major, you know the people in the office, you can actually, they'll let you use it, you can get food there. So we have to figure out how can we communicate this information to students while they're telling them, oh, technically you can't do this. This is the kind of thing that really seems like a job for Davis Wiki, but it's something that we have to figure out how to do ourselves. And sometimes, Sometimes nobody has the information you want, and you literally have to go around and take photos of menus. This was a lovely week of work here, and these are most of the main food sources on campus. People do not like it when you go up and photograph their menus. It is public information because you can memorize it, just write it down later. But and they are required to respond to us at Center for Comparison Assessment. But they often don't, and I got some very nasty looks from BioView, sort of a picture on the top, but oh well, that's their problem, not mine. So, and anyway, so we're going to use this to actually compile a list of all these places you can find halal food, kosher food, etc. on campus. So what did we take away from this? So the issue is that I'm an administrative researcher, and administrative research by definition, we're not supposed to generalize our results. This is an idea of how to improve services at UC Davis, not how to make a statement about the human condition in relation to food. But we do learn some lessons along the way. And one of it is that many resources currently exist at my campus, an astounding amount of them. You can get free vegetables at the Health and Wellness Center. You can get free food at the pantry. You can, we learned that the athletic concessions has a whole bunch of extra food some games. They can't predict how much people go to games, and they don't have anywhere to give that food. They want to give it away, but they can't. They don't know who needs to go to. So we don't have enough centralized information about food resources on campus. We don't have a way to connect all the people who might need those food to all the people who have it or have that food information about food. So, and the final most important thing we'll take away with this when we're looking at the future is in the future, food will be a resource. Wealth will be a resource. We have to distribute all that, figure out a way to get it out. But information is also a resource, and that will have to be budgeted to make, and there will be a shortage of it, and we have to make sure everybody has it. However, unlike food, which has a very quantifiable amount and exists in physical space, information can be given out in an infinite amount of time. It's up to us to solve that. I also forgot to mention at the beginning, in the very first slide, I showed a picture from one of every physics major's favorite movie, Interstellar, which I think is a really interesting vision of what the country and what the world will look like if humanity does not solve a food crisis. And in the case of Interstellar, it shows everybody, there's a plague that wipes out crops and stuff, and they look to the stars for getting off Earth as the only solution. And I think that movie is interesting, but it tells a little bit of a lie, in that while we may have to worry about some foreign cause that we can't stop that kills all our food, really, we, with our population boom, with our inefficient expansion of resources, with our maybe lack of knowledge about food, will cause possibly those problems instead. But we do have the power to fix those. When we do it with information, we can do it with smart decisions, we can do it with more efficiency. And the first step is knowing what the problem is and knowing what we already have available to fix it. And the answer may be just right under our